Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Mayo's Movie Talk. I'm starting the show tonight with Tim Allen. Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Hey, is that the other arm, the good arm, or the bad arm?
No, this is that arm. I can go about
Hey,
that
that's
high
hot.
now.
That's higher than last time, I think.
Yeah, I can go a little higher every week, but
Well, well, you might notice that Tom Hunyadi's not here yet. He's going to join us as soon as he can. He's busy doing something else, but in the meantime, figured we would just start off ourselves. And I'm looking at the comments, but because so many people like to write things like only, what is it, 240 seconds more to go till the show starts, 179 seconds, 2 minutes, it takes up all the comment space. So, hello, people that are here. And, some funny comments. But, yeah, I'm going to wait. I want to wait for Tom to join us in, talking about things we watched and everything. Yeah, see, there you go. Nice house you got there, Tim.
it's not mine. Um,
Yeah, it's almost
one
like
of these days we'll be back at my house. I can't
yeah,
wait. I
right.
did get to visit it. Not that that's what this show's about. I did get
But
to
you
visit
miss
my
it,
house.
right? You must miss it by
Well, it's
now.
just, you
It's
know,
a sight for sore eyes.
yeah.
Well, all right. Let's start with um things that we may have watched, which I still want to save some of this for Tom. But what are you going to do in the meantime? How about we start with some
Yeah.
questions first, and then wait for Tom to come up for the other? How's that?
Sure.
Does anybody
Sure.
have any questions? What do you want to talk about? Jaws, Rocky? What do you want to talk
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. Let's talk about Jaws and Rocky. I
We haven't
can't
been
wait.
talking about that lately anymore. But I don't know. I'm trying to think. There's no new movies I want to see. I know that Tom saw one because I don't go to the theater very often. I may go there to see the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes because that's something up my alley that I may want to see. Yeah, we're not talking about Beatles stuff
Yeah.
here, back
This is
bacon
this
and
is a
beer. This is
movie
only
show.
movies and TV. And the answer
If they
anyway,
make
though,
a
out of
movie
respect.
about it, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, the answer to that question though is no. I haven't heard it. Let's talk Empire Strikes Back. I don't know. Well, I don't know. That's Tom's area too. What
Yeah,
can
I'm
I
not a
say? I'm not
big.
a Star Wars guy. I like that one is probably from what I recall, the best. I think. I don't know. Tim and Tom. Yeah, I get mixed up
Yeah,
all the time.
I'm not a big Star Wars guy either. They're okay. The first three are better than any of the rest of them that I've seen, but that's all I can say about them. I'm not a Star Wars guy.
Hey guys, Chauncey Phillips here. I work at a movie studio, so you better support me. Exactly.
That's nice.
And Glenn
Hello,
loves
Mike.
that one. What? So, favorite Disney movie as a kid? Pinocchio. I like Pinocchio.
I'm gonna say uh, Herbie Rides Again, just because I think it might have been the first time me and my brother ever went to a movie without our parents, alone.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, I saw one of the Herbie. I probably saw the first one in a
I think
drive-in
I saw the
movie.
first one in a drive-in, and the
Yeah, me
second
too.
one I saw not in a drive-in in an actual movie theater.
Isn't that funny? Because we're the same age, so we. I saw
Yeah,
the drive-in with my. I guess my parents took us to see that. Lucky Jackson. I don't really care about that particular movie, but I know if you wait, I know Tom went to see it at the theater, so he's going to be talking about that, I'm sure. You
yeah,
know,
I didn't even know about it.
and yeah, of course, movie. Let It Be is a movie, so we could sneak talking about Let It Be, I
That I did.
guess.
This is the first time hearing about it. I'm out of touch on things. They need to put it out physically. Being Disney, they won't, but it really needs to come out physically. But that's good. I hope it's restored. I hope you know.
Supposed to be restored. Peter Jackson doing it again, the
Yeah, I hope
restoration
Peter
stuff.
Jackson did it, but
Oh,
I
that's
wouldn't
interesting.
even mind it fleshed out a little bit. It's probably the exact movie, but I wouldn't mind another half hour in there so it's a little less choppy, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Well, let's see what. Yeah,
but
let's see. Oh, there's a Doc. Doc, do you want to come up here too? You can, but you got to talk. You know enough about some TV and movies. So, um, I think it's a crime if A Hard Day's Night doesn't make it to some movie theaters, like they'd have some kind of promotion or something. It really should for the 60th. But I saw it last year of all times. That they played it last year at one of my independent theaters that I go to.
I haven't seen it in a theater since the '80s, I think.
Yeah.
But I have seen
Uh,
it.
is
Thank
this
goodness.
real? Martin Scorsese wants to cast DiCaprio as Frank Sinatra.
Okay. I'm tired of biopics, so that doesn't
Yeah, me
excite me.
too. And also, I'm tired of the
But
same people that people work with all the time. I don't understand that either.
you
But
know, and I mean, Sinatra had a career from the early '40s to the early '80s. How do you do a 2-hour film spanning spanning 40 years,
yeah, and
40
I don't
plus
think that
years? I don't
that's
know.
a great
I don't
casting
know.
choice.
I don't know.
Jeff Kendall. What's up, Jeff? I really like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. No. Did you guys hear about the Bob Dylan movie coming out? Well, there was going to be one about Dylan, right? Again, I
Yeah,
think.
I've heard something, but I don't know anything about it. Um, I
It
like the
is.
one from a few years ago, which was just, it wasn't a biopic. It was just this Dylan movie. I forget what it's called, but it's interesting. There's 7 different Bob Dylans in it.
That one with the woman
Seven-
playing Dylan.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best part. That's
What
the
is?
best part of the movie.
What is?
She did an amazing job at
I
Bob
don't.
Dylan. She was
I have a
perfect.
problem with that. With like men playing women, women playing men. I don't know. I don't understand
But
that.
she did it so well. If you didn't know it was a woman, you wouldn't actually know. You you couldn't tell because that's what he looked like then.
Well, I think this is different, but I think Criterion is going to be putting out Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid that has Bob Dylan in it.
Yeah. Well,
But
that'll be a genre film now once they put it out.
DiCaprio always becomes the character in every film, so I can see it working. He doesn't look enough like Sinatra.
Well, and Sinatra was this till the early '60s, anyways. Was this thin stick of a guy. So you need somebody like that. I mean, he was
Yeah.
a twig.
Secret of Pirates Inn. I don't know that TV movie.
Yeah, I don't know it either.
Oh, they actually have the Dylan.
Mm.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, here we go. They are filming it right now. It's supposed to come out next year. Gee, I wonder if I can wait.
I'd rather see a documentary, but Scorsese already did a really good Dylan documentary, so I don't know why he's doing that.
Okay, that's the
Yeah,
one Tim
Kate
Stone.
Blanchett is Dylan. That's exactly who it was, and she looked more like him than anybody else, and she acted like she was perfect.
I can't think who that is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either, but it needs to be a little stick of a guy. Um, well,
There's a
Hartman
lot.
didn't do Sinatra. Joe Piscopo did Sinatra.
Okay, yeah, now that you mentioned it.
Yeah, but anyway, but he couldn't do. He worked out and got all muscly, and then he couldn't do him anymore because Sinatra wasn't a big muscly guy. Yep, yep.
Well, I guess we got to go into what we watched. So, Tim, Well, while
Yes,
you've been still recuperating with your broken arm and you have limited resources to watch movies, what have you
yes.
watched, if anything?
Well, I can only think of two that I've watched. Um, One was a musical, um, The Royal Wedding, which is a Fred Astaire film. And I found out, this is interesting, that Liza Minnelli was originally cast as the second lead, and they fired her because she just couldn't. She was too what's a nice way of putting it, out of it. From she couldn't do it. She couldn't do it. So they fired her, and they got a woman whose name I can't remember. Um, but I watched it because there's one really cool scene where Astaire is by himself in his hotel room, and he starts his dance, and he's in love, and the next thing you know, he's dancing on the wall, and he's dancing on the ceiling. This is one shot, okay? There's no cuts. This whole thing is like 5 minutes, and there's no cuts. He's dancing on the ceiling, he's dancing back on the wall, he's back on the floor, he's back on the wall, he's back on the ceiling, floor, ceiling. It's astounding, and people, if you've never seen it, try to find that scene somewhere and watch it. It's absolutely amazing. Many directors today are still wondering how they did that, and I
Oh, they
find
never
that fast.
explained it
That's
how
why I
they did
watched
it?
the film, because it's 1951 and it's one shot. There's no edits. It's one straight,
I mean, what,
and it's like,
there's some kind of
and
trickery because you can't dance
he's
on the
upside
ceiling.
down. Well, I'll tell you. I'll give you my opinion of how I think they did it. I think they built this whole room on like a gimbal and put the camera in front of the gimbal, and then they just rotated the room to the part, and the camera was affixed to the room. So if the camera's on the floor and the floor's on the ceiling, it still looks right side up. Okay, and I think that's how they did it. They made this big room and they rotated the whole room, is what I think they did. But it's astounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a rotating room. Well, it's not, because there are many directors that say no, that's not how they did it. To this day, they're not sure, but I think that's how they did it. But interesting anyway. And then I watched a silent film called The Wind, and I'm blanking on the actress. She's one of the great silent actresses.
Clara Bow.
Like,
Why not? Is
no,
Clara
no,
Bow a silent actress?
before her. It's not Lillian Gish. It's the other one that's around
Oh,
that time. I can't think of her name. But this film is just about this woman that um is going to meet her brother, who lives in the middle of the country where there's nothing there, literally, but sand and wind. But she doesn't know this when she goes there, and her husband her she's just treated horribly, and there's wind. There's not a bit of a scene without this gales of wind and sand, and everybody got, everybody that wasn't on screen was wearing scarves over their faces and goggles, and it was horrendous. And here these poor people are in it for day after day after day. Amazing thing to see, and it's only like a 110-minute film. Mary Pickford, that's probably who it is,
yeah, there you go.
but I can't think right now.
Lillian Gish.
Oh, it is a Lillian Gish. I was right. I was wrong.
How
Yeah,
the
that's
heck
right. I
could you
saw it.
stay awake?
2 p.m. It was Lillian Gish.
I can't stay awake. I would never be able to stay awake.
But
I
well,
don't.
you'd stay awake for this one because it's just like, oh my god, these poor people, and it just doesn't end. But it was
I
pretty
wish I
cool. I
could.
never seen it. I knew of it, but I'd never seen it before. So those are the only I've probably seen other films last week, but they were so unmemorable that I don't even remember them.
Yeah. Well, so that's it for. Well, that's a couple that you
Yeah.
watched. I I don't like count. I don't count films as officially watched if I don't see them from the beginning. And here comes Tom. Better
Ugh.
late than never, Tom. There he is. There he is. What's up, Tom?
All right, guys. How you doing? How you doing?
Uh, oh, we've been through that already. No, yeah, yeah. Doing all right, I guess. We're just talking about
Uh,
things we've seen. And
Yeah.
oh, excellent,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
you missed the
And
Tim
Eric
Awesome.
Schultz. Yeah, The Crowd might be my favorite silent film. Great film.
Ooh,
The
Okay.
okay. I'll
Crowd.
have to check that one out. Where did you see that,
Yeah.
Tim? You remember?
I actually own it.
Okay,
But
so it
like
is available on physical media
it,
then.
it is it might even be on Criterion these days. It probably is.
No,
Maybe not on
no.
Blu-ray. I don't know if it's
I
on
would have,
Blu-ray.
I would have had it at some point if it was on Criterion.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure because it's been on Kino. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, it's not a complete silent film. There is a little bit of talking in the middle. It's one of those early we'll experiment with talking a little bit, but it's
Okay.
primarily a silent film.
I mean, there's an answer to this, but I just don't know what it is. I've seen many
City
boring
Hall.
films.
City
That,
Hall.
that's the most boring film that you've ever seen.
And that I witnessed, I walked out of that movie. I think Husbands and Wives at the Woody Allen movie. For me, that's a very. I know you like it, Joe.
To me,
For
I've
me,
often
that was
called that
very boring.
his best. Sometimes I call it, Uh,
You know.
but
Um,
um, but
I
that's
yeah.
different strokes.
I remember revisiting the first three Kid films about 14 years ago, and just thinking, what did I ever see in these movies? I just thought it was terrible,
Mm.
and boring, but whatever.
I mean, I know I've seen if I've seen hundreds of boring films, why can't I come up with one? I
Right.
don't know. But because I'm looking for
Yeah.
the most boring in my mind, and I can't do that.
I'm I'm trying to remember the name of the one I'm thinking of. It might be Journey. I can't something to a prehistoric planet, and it's a film that got abandoned, and then they finished it, and it's horrible. I find it horrible.
Mm,
Yeah, I
mm.
can't.
But um,
I find
and
Vertigo boring,
Manos
but
Hand of
but the
Fate,
one time I watched
called the
it,
worst film of all, is just boring. Is
Yeah.
well,
Mm.
Halloween Ends is the worst freaking Halloween movie of them all. Which some other ones were yeah just as bad. I don't know if it's Halloween Ends for me or if it's Hollywood Resurrection, Halloween Resurrection. But there you go.
Mm.
Uh,
Ah, yes, yes, yes. That's what they were talking about. Okay.
Film is good, popcorn stale. Funny, my father-in-law. Jesus, I need sleep. Father-in-law is in a little scene in City Hall as one of the doctors,
Oh,
and that's where I met
okay.
Al Pacino on set outside, getting a photo with him, autograph, and met Cusack as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we got to talk a little about Civil War.
Okay, so last night I went to go see Civil War in the movie theater, and I gotta say that it's really tense movies. There's a lot of good action sequences. The sound of the film is amazing. You actually feel like you're in there. But I'll just say that the film revolves around four wartime journalists, if you want to call it that. And they're trying to get from New York to DC in a very divided country, civil war. I mean, and I think wisely they didn't say, why there's a civil war, or what, they said there's a president in there, but they don't say what party he's on. So I think they kind of wisely kept the politics out of it, and it's just the story
Yep.
about these four journalists and their journey, or to get from one place to another, and all of the experiences that they deal with, which some are very, very tense. I gotta tell you, you could cut the tension with a knife. And I was very glad I saw it. I'm looking forward to seeing it again, and I definitely recommend it. I don't want to give too much away, but that's called "Everyone Says I Love You" is
You
the name
son
of
of a
that
bitch. I
musical.
was going to say that to show I know something, waiting for you to shut up about Civil War. Yeah, and he
Sorry,
jumps right
buddy.
on it.
Yeah.
Everyone says I love you. See me, Tom. I know all the movies. You
I was,
lousy. I was waiting for him to stop it. Before
yeah,
somebody said it in
yeah.
the comments, I was going to say it, but anyway.
I apologize. I
Al
apologize.
Pacino was the greatest. Well, he's used to that stuff. He's very I don't know, friendly. He signed autographs for people. He stopped to post pictures for people while he was playing football with John Cusack in between passes. He'd stop there, throw the pass. Sort of pass, take a picture. Yeah, he's used to it. I think he's New Yorker. Any film starring Rob Schneider? Boring.
I'm
Never
I'd
I'm
cried
say
sure
just
once.
there
bad,
are.
not necessarily good.
Never cried. Well,
Uh,
yeah.
let's see. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Wow. Man, did I hate that thing, The King and I. Oh,
What
That
what
was
about
not
the
one of
movie
my
you saw
favorite
where the
musicals.
lady get a dress? Was that wasn't boring,
oh,
was
that
it?
wasn't boring. That was Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. It wasn't boring. Boring is the worst thing it could be. Right? Even
Mm,
the cardinal sin of
Well,
being
yeah,
boring. There's so many
yeah.
of them, but who
That's
the
why
heck
people
knows?
people for years have been trying to say Plan 9 from Outer Space is the worst
That's not
movie ever
boring.
made. It's not because it's
mm,
not boring. It's very entertaining. Is it
Yeah.
made well?
right.
No, but it's very entertaining. Therefore, it's not a bad film.
Yeah, you're doing this to get on Tom's good side and kiss and brown nose Tom, but the fact of the matter is, okay, I'm sick of hearing that about him. Okay, because that's not true, and no more so than De Niro, as far as I'm concerned,
We
by this
we we
point.
we know your feelings about this, Henry. You don't have to keep doing this week in and week out. We know, okay, and it's all right. It's okay. Um, yeah. We talk about
um,
Switchblade Sisters.
well,
Switchblade Sisters.
well, hold on a minute. Is Gone with
Mm,
the Wind boring? I don't know if I'd say I was bored by it, but because it's to me it was it was the production was lavish enough for me to enjoy it. Watch looking at it, but I just couldn't get into that character. I didn't give a
mm.
No,
crap about
I,
her, man. Am I
I've
supposed
never
to?
seen the whole thing through. It's nearly 4 hours
It's
long, and that's too long
yeah.
for me. And I'm not interested enough to watch a 4 hour film.
I love it. No, seriously. So what were you going to show something else you watched there, Tom?
Yeah, no, I picked up
Oh yeah,
Switchblade Sisters from Arrow Video, and been dying to see
Mm.
this. And from the director that directed
Oh,
Coffee and Foxy Brown,
yeah.
the Pan Grier films.
yeah, yeah. That
So
I've seen it many
mm,
times.
yeah, and the funny thing about this is
It's
the
really
gang
good.
that they're in is not called Switchblade Sisters, So the
No,
the
no,
title
no. That
really
was
had nothing to do. I mean, even though they use switchblades, they
no.
really didn't have
Yeah,
that name.
yeah.
But I really
No,
liked it.
that first got a reappearance when Tarantino had that label and he was
Yes,
putting weird
yeah,
stuff out like
yeah,
that, and that was a
yeah,
Tarantino picked film, and that's why I've seen it, and
right,
it's
Oh,
yeah, it's
mm,
for that kind of film, it's really good.
right.
I don't like. I'm saying I've seen movies I was saying before. If I haven't seen the whole thing, really, but I think I've seen this movie before. I was going on again Turner, and I saw like I might have missed 5 minutes, the first 5 minutes, but I think I've seen it. And that's with Spencer Tracy, Father of the Bride, which I've seen
Mm,
before. I know I have, but I sat through the whole thing and watched it, again. It's a good
Hmm.
movie, and Elizabeth Taylor was beautiful, and all that.
Yeah.
Um,
right, right.
it's funny, and then there's a sequel to it called I think Father's Little Dividend.
Oh, this little dividend. Yeah,
What did they call
Hmm.
it? That's when he's a grandfather, right? And that
right.
should have
Yeah.
called it Grandfather of the Bride. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't call it that,
Well,
but anyway.
Mm,
they
Um,
were more imaginative then than they are now.
but you see, I
yeah.
wonder. I see a movie like that, and I wonder, like, do I want to own that movie? I don't know. I mean, it was good, but
Mm,
I don't know. Um,
I
yeah.
think I
I
do
was
own that
Um.
saying,
movie because I saw the Steve Martin remake in the
yeah,
theater in the
me
in the
too.
80s, so I wanted to see the original. So
Yeah.
I
Another
think the
film I picked
original is
up was called The House That Jack Built. This is a Lars von Trier film, who I've talked about a couple times here. And this is Matt Dillon plays a murderer, a serial killer, if you will. And it's pretty brutal. There's some really tough scenes in here, but we're all big boys. We can handle it, I guess. But I really enjoyed this, and this was, I think, the last film that he directed. Uh, the house that Jack built.
Who's the first one to say if what they thought of it or didn't see it? I haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it. Haven't seen it. Earl Flynn
Okay.
is
I haven't
not
seen
my
it. It was on
one of my
AMC
go-to.
this week, and
Uh,
I
What
didn't
is
watch it. Or
fine?
not AMC, TMC, TCM.
mm,
Um.
he's not one of my go-to actors, to be honest with you. It's got the
Yeah. Well,
steel
I
book up Mac.
I don't care about Magnificent Seven, believe it or not. Even though I
Mm,
saw it once, I was like, all right, it wasn't. I don't know. At least that's another great movie that I'm gonna watch it, and I was like underwhelmed the first time I saw it. I don't know. And
mm,
then Stan and Ollie, I liked the movie, but of course, again, there's this false stuff in it. But I like the
Yeah,
performances, so I definitely would agree with you on
yeah,
the performances.
yeah. I like Stan and Ollie. And watch the Seven Samurai instead of Magnificent Seven.
I agree with
Magnificent
you
Seven's just
100%.
just a remake of
Yeah.
the Seven Samurai. Watch the original.
Very short remake of Seven Samurai.
Yes, yes. Seven
Yeah.
Samurai. Seven
Uh,
Samurai is a very long film
mm,
worth watching.
yes. There you go.
I don't know. I think
Mm.
there's got to be worse movies than that.
Never heard
Uh,
of The Room.
Oh,
Yeah,
The Room is
there are bad, bad
very
movies.
famous for being a very, very bad movie. No, I haven't. To be
I
honest with
think.
you, I haven't had the desire to watch that Franco film, James Franco film, 127 hours. I mean, I've heard really good things about it, but I just you know don't want to spoil what happens in there, but I don't really have any interest.
well, I can't talk about them, but I know Tim can maybe
Mm,
I don't know what to discuss about them. The
all
first
27. Let's
10
go.
probably are really good, and then they get a little less so with some
mhm.
peaks. But but they're better than you'd think they'd be, in my opinion. Way better.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, I would never see Gone with the Wind again, and Maltese Falcon. I want to watch again, and Casablanca also.
Yeah, I watched
Mm.
Maltese Falcon maybe a week ago, week and a half ago again. Great film.
Favorite indie film?
Oh, jeez, there's just
Lots of them.
that
There's
you can't.
No, there's so many. But I'll tell you, I'll recommend a little indie film that I like. I haven't seen it for quite a while now. But there's a film from, I don't know, the early 2000s maybe. I'm not good with film dates, called The Station Agent. It's a
Mm,
really cool little indie film about a small person who like
Mhm,
moves from wherever he is, loves trains, and moves into like this abandoned train station. And he watches. He's a train spotter, and he writes down the train times. And there's only
mm,
really three people in the film, and nobody really gets him, but they like him. And it's just this weird little three. It's not threesome in a sexual way, but it's this little threesome develops, and that's really it for the whole film. And it's just it's there's some really dark parts, and it's just a really nice little film.
cool,
I liked
cool.
Bad Day at Black Rock. That's when I was watching all kinds of different movies. I saw it.
Right.
I remember Ernest Borgnine was baddie in
Yep.
that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's it.
but
It's
I
another
can't
one I
re-
missed on AMC in the last or TCM in the
Mm,
last few weeks.
but I can't remember it. All I know is I liked it. I remember something about him being outside, sitting outside,
My
and they didn't.
my
He was
he's
in.
a
problem
one-armed.
is
Yeah.
All
my
three of us are talking at once. There's got to
oh,
be a
I
way.
know.
I know we get excited. Everybody wants to look like they're the guy, they're the Ebert. I know that, but we got to figure out how we're going to arrange this. It's tough, man. But it's only three of us. Imagine if there were nine of us. But I was like, okay, like we do on Talk More Talk. Okay,
Mhm.
Tom, like that. No, I don't know, but I don't remember what they they would get wanted him for, like what they hated him for. I can't remember.
He was trying to give an award to somebody that they killed.
Uh,
He wanted to give a medal to the military person, and the group of people, the group of people, including Ernest Borgnine, didn't want him to find out that the person has has been deceased. Great film and great performance from Spencer Tracy. Tim?
Yeah, Spencer Tracy's done some good things, I gotta say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doc Dacus. Well, actually,
Yeah.
see, here's the thing. I watched them all. I have the whole series of Ma and Pa Kettle. Blondie. I've never seen a Blondie movie in its entirety, but I know I've seen all the Ma and Pa Kettle movies. And the first one is The Egg and I believe,
Yeah.
which is not even it. Fred McMurray's in that, I think. Can't remember who else it is. But anyway, I liked the series overall. But I can't. I mean, I have did reviews of all of them from like 2004. It's like 20 years since I've seen them. I wish I knew them all, remembered them all. But
I've seen them too, but they're not memorable to me. I
and
don't,
you got
you
what's
know.
her name in there? Can't think of her name. Marjorie Main, who's Ma.
Yeah, Marjorie May.
She's really good. There you go.
Yeah. There you go. Glad you've seen it, T Bob.
Willem Dafoe. Let's go before 2000.
Yeah.
Well, I will.
1990.
I will also show one other film that I picked up this week. I just got it yesterday, and that's called a movie called Affliction with Nick Nolte and James Coburn, Sissy Spacek, and William Defoe has a, smaller part in that. But James Coburn won Best Supporting Actor for this film,
Mhm.
and I think this was '97. Nick Nolte is one of our great, tense, explosive actors, and he's that way in this film, and this is really great. So check it out.
Especially when he punched out Ed Asner in Rich Man Poor Man. Watch The Rapture. It will freak anyone out. Psycho Splatters. Well,
Hey, psychos.
the Stan and Ollie film I think is worth seeing. You know.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it.
Okay, there's a good thought for you.
Mm,
The fictional fight in Stan and Ollie almost spoiled the film for me, but I'm glad that it was made because most of the rest of it is a beautiful tribute to Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw Doctor again. I went out of my comfort box. But that's when I was watching all these Kubrick movies, and I watched it because that's a great example of the type of movie I would I would have no interest in. Whatever like war and plotting. N- no interest in that kind of stuff. And then I saw it, and I remember liking George C. Scott in it,
yeah, the
but
satire.
I have notes on it somewhere, all online. I can't remember it all. But that's not my kind of movie that I would just love. I'm sorry, I gotta go back. I'm like, sorry if I
Gotta go.
missed stuff. What were you saying? Uh, yeah, Tom knows. He's a Criterion guy.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
There's a
No, I
yeah.
know
It
for
was
a fact there
number
is.
two. It was number
Huh.
two.
Number two in the genre.
No, no, it's number two because they number all of their
Yeah,
releases,
yeah.
and
Yes,
and
And
I know.
they
stand
didn't
right.
even
Criterion genre.
try to correspond DVDs with Blu-rays. They
Right.
just started all over again.
Anybody see Under the Skin?
Yes, I love Under the Skin.
Nope.
Love it.
How do you see all these movies? Here's somebody that loves the Man Pa Kettle films. Pre-release edit of The Big Sleep, which doesn't make any sense, and everybody loves it anyway. 1945. I forget, Tim.
I
Did you
think
ever
that was
talk about The Big Sleep?
No, but I've seen it.
Because
one of my least favorites. One of my least favorite bogey films.
Yeah, I don't remember it very well, so I couldn't have loved it. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know
Is
if I
that
should
one of
keep.
the four that had Lauren Bacall in it?
I don't
yeah,
know if
yeah.
she's in that. She's in it.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
she is. I think Lauren Bacall is in The Big Sleep.
Best Morgan Freeman film besides Shawshank. Uh, Drawing a blank.
Morgan Freeman. Well, I mean, he was good in Million Dollar Baby, I think. um,
I also saw all the Francis the Talking Mule movies as well, and I
mhm.
remember thinking they weren't as funny as Mr. Ed the Talking Horse TV show.
and
I was
and
kind of
and
disappointed in
they make me sad because Donald O'Connor is better than that. he's
them.
he's he's really wasted in my
Well, Mickey
opinion in
Rooney
those
is. I think
films.
it's Mickey Rooney's in one of them. The haunted house one. Is it Mickey
Well,
Rooney?
Donald O'Connor's the guy that he follows around through most of the films, and
No, I know that,
it's
but the one of them has somebody
yeah,
else as the main guy. At the last one,
it's
I think
just
it's Francis in the
he's
haunted house. That's a different actor. Might be
any
Mickey Rooney
guy
though.
that can keep up with Gene Kelly dancing shouldn't be in a Francis the Talking Mule film. He's being
Well,
wasted.
be that as it may, I remember Francis joins the Wax. It's got some pretty girls in there from that time, including Julie Adams from The Creature from the Black Lagoon. That's one of the
I have to
ones I
excuse
like.
myself for a minute, fellas. I'll be right back.
Look, you. Blondie movies
Yes,
are shown
please.
every Saturday morning on movies. I
Well,
probably could see them then, but
I don't know
with
what that
all the
is.
things to do,
I
I
don't have
cried to a
movies.
lot of films, but I can't remember them. A lot of
Oh,
films, man.
I cry half the films I watch. I cry at some point. So that's
Well,
I
I'll
can
admit to Ben Hur at the end,
just
but there's
name a
other ones
film and
too.
I've cried.
And how could you remember all these things? I mean, I can't remember them all.
I mean, if I'm really paying attention to it, I'll still cry and It's a Wonderful Life at the end. And I've seen it 4,000 times.
I'm glad that loser list likes old movies. I have all the Charlie Chan films. Not only do I have all the Charlie Chan films, but I got some in monogram
Yeah.
Charlie Chan films that are
I'm
really
sure he was gonna
cheap.
he met Mr. Moto at the end. I've seen a couple Mr. Motos and a
Mr.
few
Moto, I have all
Charlie
of those.
Chans,
Once upon a time, I
but I
went through the
haven't seen them
entire
all.
thing. It's again, these are all things I've seen. Man, you wonder how many more times I can get them on. And I also saw Stardust Memories. I was watching all the Woody Allen movies. Get I wish I could just pull up right now, boom, 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 on on the database, and just read what I thought of all of them. I know I like Stardust Memories. That's the
I
one that
don't
has a weird intro with Woody Allen. He's on a train or something,
I
and all
don't think
this
I've
havoc
seen
is
it.
happening on the train. It's pandemonium is breaking loose.
I may own it, but I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, and I remember liking it a lot. Yeah, the humor, the first scene on the train is very wild. Yeah, that's the ones we were talking about. Yeah, I have them all. I own the Charlie Chan series
Mm.
and Mr. Moto, and I enjoy them both series. Watched them most of them at one point. I haven't seen every literal one actually. There you
All right.
go.
So it could be two different reasons. One, they haven't secured the rights to release it on Blu-ray, or they're looking for a better film negative to release it on Blu-ray. Now we know Criterion was releasing stuff on Laserdisc, and not every movie that they released on Laserdisc got bumped to DVD, and then not every film they had on DVD is getting bumped to Blu-ray. So there's reasons, like I said, it could be, they just haven't secured the distribution rights to do that.
I can appreciate that, Cherry. However, I still say people over animals.
Over
People ahead of animals.
Old Yeller makes me, man,
Old Yeller.
yeah.
Lauren Bacall was in Big Sleep. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I thought so.
That's a good one. It's a good
I
one.
like um is it Dark
Tell you the
Passage,
one
I
I can't.
think is the one I
Yeah,
really
Is that
like.
the one when he's bandaged up?
yeah.
That's the one when he's
Yeah,
up.
you
I
don't
think,
see him for like a third of the
yeah, you don't.
film.
Right, right. Um, oh, the one that I can't, that I'm not a big fan of is the one that he won the Oscar for. Was the African Queen. Not a
Oh,
big fan of that one.
which I still never had a desire to see. I know that the act is supposed to
Uh,
be, Catherine Hepburn.
I I'm not a big fan of one of his last films, and people really like it. The John Huston film, Beat the Devil. It's okay,
mm,
but I don't see why people like it so much.
Barry Boys also, they're not good. They're not very good. Some of them are
No,
better than others. But I do have all of
yeah,
those, and Warner put out a good series. Um, I think four sets, each one with 12 movies on it. There's like 48
yeah. The
movies.
Bowery Boys, the earlier the better. I
Not to
mean,
me,
you
actually. We
you.
disagree. No, I mean I like them when
I
they were.
think I
Excuse
think
me.
the earlier.
Well, you're talking about when they. Let's get it straight. You're probably the Dead End Kids you're talking about, right?
Well, yeah, the Dead End Kids and the East Side Kids and the
East
Bowery
Side Kid.
Boys. I think
But
the
they weren't
Dead
the
End
Bowery
Kid
Boys
movies
until
are the best
'46 when they
ones.
started doing outright comedy, and they just started doing
Yeah,
like Abbott and Costello, shtick. And I like them when you see. I like them in the '50s. I like them when they're the older one,
mm,
older. You got supposed to be boys, even though you got Huntz
yeah,
Hall with his receding hair line all the way back, and when you got Leo
mm,
Gorsey's fat and everything, and a lot of fat jokes. Funny stuff. There you go. Yeah, the final film had Mickey Rooney after Donald O'Connor left.
mm.
okay,
That's that's
okay.
what I
See,
thought I had
I
remembered.
haven't seen them all.
Yeah.
Always Wonderful Life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but that's it just you should be happy, but they're not sad tears; they're happy tears, and that's great. I think.
Robin Williams goes to hell to save his wife. I don't know which
I
movie
forgot the
that
name
is.
of that. I forgot the name of that film.
Yeah.
It's a Tim question.
Well, I'm a fan of old, just sci-fi. I would call them sci-fi films more than monster. Not a huge monster movie guy. I mean, I just put them in the same thing with space movies and I like all that stuff. You know, um,
How many copies you buying, Darren? Remember that? Yeah, this
Yep.
sounds. I don't remember. I don't remember it. I have. I own it and I've seen it and I liked it, but I don't remember it.
Mm.
Don't look back.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the
I
Chapman
don't.
releases are great. Go
I
ahead,
don't
Joe.
care about this idiot. I mean, only because he was in that Lennon movie. I don't know what else he's been in, but that Lennon movie sucked, and it sucked because I mean he looked good. He
Yeah.
looked good in the part, but I thought it sucked because there was a lot of mistakes again. I can't stand when they do
Yeah.
that.
Well, he's an Academy Award winning actor. He's done some good stuff. Panic Room, Fight Club. He's got a lot of supporting at roles that he was really good at. Lead actor wise, I think he's a better supporting actor than he is a leading actor. But very very good actor.
Nothing anymore.
Well, see, here's the thing. They were the leaders in restoring film and commentaries and interviews with things like that. That stuff's all everybody's doing. All these boutique labels are doing that now.
Yeah.
But essays and stuff like that. But at the time, and in the 90s during the big heyday of Laserdisc and then into the Blu-ray,
Yeah.
DVDs and Blu-rays, they were the leaders in
I
film
agree.
preservation. Film
Well, yeah. They
preservation.
started
Now it's
in
just like,
video.
yeah,
They
right.
were first.
You
We
know,
wouldn't have all these other
he,
labels without
yeah,
Criterion. Then came
correct.
Kino Lorber shortly after that.
Kino,
Just
Kino,
Kino by
Arrow, yeah,
themselves, yeah.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
other
Kino,
people
Arrow,
started coming in after
yeah,
that, but they were the
yeah,
first.
Yeah, they
They,
deserve
they,
credit for being the first. I think now
yeah,
they're my
we
favorite
wouldn't have
genre.
all that without that. Well, somebody else might have done it,
that's right.
but
I think I'm gonna
it,
watch a
at that
Criterion.
time, you had major labels and then these discount budget labels, and that's all you had. The stuff
Mm,
you saw at drugstores stores in a revolving rack. That kind of VHS. That's all
Right.
you had.
Right.
And then on comes Criterion saying, "Look, I can take this film and make it look better and give you extras and pay
Yeah.
more." But and
Yeah.
movie
Yeah.
fans
You're gonna
loved it,
pay.
and
Right.
it worked. It was proof of I would call Criterion the proof of concept. You need
Mm.
a proof of concept, and they proved that it worked, and then other people started doing
Just like every other thing I start, I stopped after like 2 or 3 episodes.
it.
I don't know. I was talking to Tim about this before. I don't have gumption to do anything, but I do have to try to watch them. Uh,
Mm.
okay. I didn't get to talk about a movie that I watched, which is typical of my kind of taste. I like, well, just like
Yeah.
with music, I like everything, but I have my favorites. And I watched this exploitation, which I've seen many, many times. It's not another one, same old, not a new thing. You ready?
Yes. See it. Ah.
Dracula versus
Okay.
Frankenstein and Al Adamson, complete schlock exploitation, 1971. And let me tell you something about this. This
Oh,
is a
before you do, can I ask you a question real
Go
quick,
ahead.
Joe? How is that a exploitation film?
Exploitation?
Yeah. What's the exploitation? I mean,
Exploitation. What do you mean exploitation?
what's
Is it
the word that goes before exploitation? Blackploitation, sexploitation, nunploitation. You know what I
well
mean? You said
I thought it's an exploitation movie because
okay.
it has, cleavage and it has like blood and all this stuff.
All
You
right. Good.
Whatever.
That's
God
okay.
damn it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What?
there's your Dracula for you with the goatee, Zandor Vorkov. You know,
Oh, I love it.
really sleazy, ineptly made, bad movie, highly enjoyable. It's got Lon Chaney Jr. in his last horror role. He had to be mute because he had throat cancer. It has J. Carroll Nash, who's been in a lot of old movies, in his last role playing Dr. Frankenstein. Uh,
Put that out.
it-
Who put that out? Who put that Blu-ray out?
that's a good question. Media Blasters? Media Blasters.
Okay.
And
Okay.
all I could say is not for everybody, of course, but the whole idea, and it's got Russ Tamblyn in here, and it's got Jim Davis, who was in Dallas. The thing about this is Sam Sherman, who was the producer, does an excellent commentary. Like there's certain commentaries, I know you all encountered them, that they're really the best you've ever heard. This is one of the best because he talks about making this thing, and it started in 1969, and it was going to be called Blood Seekers or Blood Freaks, and there was no Dracula Frankenstein in it. And it was about a motorcycle gang and an axe murderer. And then later on, he put Dracula and Frankenstein, took the footage. Then he called it something else, Blood of Frankenstein. It was just going to be about Frankenstein. Then they put Dracula in. It took like 3 years to make, and of
Oh
just
wow.
putting hot. See, some people, like my friend I used to have, was really interested in this kind of movie, like a movie that's just like what you can do on a budget and just like make something out of it. And a movie like that is entertaining, technically bad, but yet it's
Mhm.
entertaining. And I watched it with
Cool.
my friend Anthony,
Sure.
who
Nah.
has no use for it because he likes the old black and white classic monsters, and he didn't want to see that. So there you go.
That's too funny.
I didn't know he was a Joker.
Yeah, in a movie called Suicide Squad, he played the Joker.
Filmed
Best
him as
Joker,
worst Joker.
Romero.
Caesar
Second best
Romero,
Joker,
he's the
Nicholson.
best Joker, and Jack Nicholson
Yeah, Romero is the best Joker.
for me anyway. I'm talking about for me. Oh man, I'm ready to go to sleep, folks. I get tired easy. 6:30. I've been up, so I'm tired. We're not gonna. All right, what did he say about Hitchcock? Oh wait, I have the movie poster for Dracula versus Frankenstein. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
very
what I
cool,
like to
Cherry.
hear.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yes, I have seen My Dinner with Andre. Yes, I own it. It's on my favorite genre of film. Okay, what's the big deal?
Yeah. Uh, well, maybe, but I think he was pretty good in his own time that he was.
I don't agree because when he made films in the I mean, no, he was old by then, but his '70s films are probably his worst.
Fren-
So I don't agree with
I
that at
don't
all.
know. I like Frenzy.
I like Frenzy, but I don't. But I don't think it maybe is not as good as some of the earlier ones.
It doesn't even look, but it doesn't look like a Hitchcock film at all.
You know,
I don't know.
except that he
I
got him floating in the
prefer,
water.
I
It's not in the
prefer.
commercial, the
Well,
ads
I
where
think
he's in.
it's fairly yeah, I think it's really interesting when those older directors and actors were able to now get into like the 70s and 80s, and they were able to do things that they weren't really able to do because of the ratings board. And it's
Hmm.
kind of cool to see how they, adapt to the new, generations of filmmakers, and then they can get away with more stuff than they were able to in the past.
But what was that later one that he did that I really didn't care for? And Bruce Dern is in it. 70s
Oh yeah, Family Plot.
Family Plot.
Family
Was that his
Plot. Yeah,
last
that's
movie?
his last
Yeah,
film.
that's his last film. Yeah.
I don't remember. I saw that in
People,
the movies.
a lot of people don't even think think that he ghost directed that because he was really ill at the time.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
Okay, Glenn, if you're still here, good night.
Take care, Glenn. Take care.
like,
You got
Um,
me.
yeah, that's another Black Exploitation film series. But there was that kind of like bio of him with Eddie Murphy starring as Dolomite that was on, I think,
yeah,
on Netflix. That was kind of funny.
I'm not a big fan of Dolomite. Sorry.
Yeah.
I get to rest a little bit. I'm caught up. Oh, boy.
Woo! Good job, Joe. Good job.
My eyes are sleepy. So, yeah. What else can I say? Nothing. So that's it for what I watched. Oh, I did see an episode of Quincy. Do we ever talk about
Mm.
Quincy? Like I put that show on and I don't really watch it. I use it to like just close my eyes to. But I
Yeah,
watched
I
one.
haven't watched it. It's
You
on every
never.
night, but I
You
don't
do
watch
watch
it.
it or you don't watch it.
I don't.
I saw one last night where he was I don't know. He was his birthday. They were having a birthday party, but then there was a plane crash in the water and in the ocean, and everybody had life jackets on, but no, they didn't have any rafts. So he stopped his birthday party and rushed down there to save people. And he goes down there, and of course, most people died. Like in the 90s, I think 90 something people
Well,
died of
he's the
hypo.
coroner. He should just be standing on the shore waiting for people to die and
Well,
then going
anyway,
and get them.
they died of hypothermia, and he was particularly attached to this one girl young girl who was trying to fight for life, and he kind of like took her under his wing, and she was in a coma, and visiting her in the hospital. The guy became attached to her. Anyway, and she wound up dying. Then he freaked out, and he couldn't like work, and he became like a recluse, and he was just hiding from everybody. Finally, the end of the show, he decides that he's gonna like fight to get rafts. You know, you can actually blow up rafts on every plane, and they're fighting it in the court, and the reason why it's not economically feasible. And he's doing his Oscar Madison. What are you gonna do? You gonna? I'm telling you, these kids are. I'm telling you. He puts that left hand out. He acts with his left hand. I'm telling you all the time. He
Mm.
does that all the time. And then the thing, it surprised me in a way because it ended with there was a gag order. But he had to shut up, shut his mouth, to keep him quiet, and that's how it ends. Like nothing, no resolution, no happy ending. Just like that's how the system works. They got him gagged that he can't talk anymore. And that's the end of.
That is
I'm
how
like,
the
wow,
system works.
what a bummer of an ending. Jack Klugman's great. He always plays Jack Klugman. By the
Mm.
way, we don't have any Odd Couple updates.
No, no. Every time I think I'm going to watch a couple episodes, I end up falling asleep or something like that, and I want to be awake when I watch them.
Yeah.
You're kidding!
I just remember I had these clips. Yeah, Felix. He's a riot, Oscar.
Mm.
Jack
That's all right.
Klugman,
Well, here,
man.
how about this? Here you go. All right, here, you got the hat on, you
He's
got the
gonna do
cigar,
that. You do look
you
like
got
him.
the baseball hat.
You do.
Okay,
You look just like him.
here you go.
Ah.
There you go. There's your odd couple.
Well, I was. Hold on, I'm jumping. Well, Tanner, I was very careful when I said this.
No.
It's not Lon Chaney Jr.'s final role. It's his final horror film. Because he made one
Right.
after it. I can't remember the name of it. It had a race car title to it or something like that. Oh, the alligator. Yeah, 1959. He made tons of movies after the alligator people. Tons in the 60s and you know late in the 60s mostly, but maybe one or two in the early 70s. I forget the name of his very last movie, but he was in bad shape. But booze
Mm.
bucks. I collected some booze
Who's
bucks.
bucks?
And that's what he was doing. Him and J. Carrol Nash
Uh,
both collected them booze bucks, man.
I love the booze bucks.
J. Carrol Nash, who was in everything, but nobody knows him, but he was in everything, including a Batman serial.
Yeah, yeah, but the whole scene about the train going. I mean, that was the great you know great scene where people will know what's going on with the train
Yeah.
going into the tunnel.
But he wasn't the first one to do that. But
Right.
yeah.
Does Tom know what this line is based on one view?
No.
Do it for Mandar. That's what's his name again? Wow, help me out. Yeah, the guy who you didn't like in the first season, who was the. I can't think of his name. Give me his name, folks. He's in. Oh boy, I hate when you can't remember a name. He plays like a younger guy. He's the guy that the Mandar lotion that Oscar has to do a commercial for. What the hell's the guy's
Oh,
name?
Mm,
Oh, he's in Life and that Defending Your Life with Meryl Streep. Albert Brooks.
okay.
oh
I
okay.
said it before the name came up.
Ah, I think that was a tie.
Uh, I do like the
Yeah.
Days of Wine and Roses. I do like that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. Klugman
That
had a
was
nice
on
little
last
supporting
night, but
role.
or Monday. I can't remember, but I couldn't watch it. That's my problem living here. I can't, things come on, but I can't necessarily watch them just because they're on. Um,
Mm,
so
I think things like this were the case back then. I think.
well, it's the Hayes Code. It started in the 30s, and it went through. It started breaking down in the mid 60s, and by 1970, it was pretty much over.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and you couldn't. I mean, there were rules, and you didn't you didn't have to. You could thwart it, and some people did, but you wouldn't get a rating on your film, and without a rating on your film, very few theaters would show it.
You just would show it, right? Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
but you could. That's what all the exploitation filmmakers did. They didn't get ratings on their films; they just showed them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but at that time they were lucky enough that there were theaters that would show,
yeah,
those films. Not
but
your
grindhouse
mainstream
theaters,
stuff,
and
but yeah.
it was
Right.
grindhouse
Yeah.
theaters. They weren't
Yeah.
playing at the Cineplex down the street. It was grindhouse theaters that would show and drive-ins.
What about Joe? You seen this film?
I have it in the box of films that I got at in October at the record
Oh
store.
yeah.
A
Yeah,
box
Yeah.
of like a
Right.
yeah, I
hundred
don't.
movies, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
instead, I watched Dracula versus Frankenstein again for the hundredth time. It's just the way I am because I don't
I
have to
want to
think
talk.
about
I
it.
want to talk about Eric Schultz's comment, a couple up from that one, because that's pre the censorship thing.
Yeah.
You could There
Right.
was nudity in films. People don't know there was nudity in films until the whole censorship thing came in. Till like 33, you could show toilets. You could swear. I've got a short with oh god, Harold Lloyd, where he's like, "Oh man, that's shitty." I couldn't believe it.
Mm.
You
Really?
could swear. You could. It wasn't till censorship went boom that you couldn't show toilets and all of that stuff. You could before. There's plenty of that kind of stuff in early films. Um,
5 years.
Got so many movies
Mm,
to watch. So well, not so little time, but so little gumption.
yeah. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna watch tonight. I'm gonna try to watch
Tonight,
Wife versus Secretary.
God bless you if you could. I wish I was like you guys, man. There's
I'll be
people like that.
watching
Oh,
whatever's
I
on
have insomnia.
PCM
I stayed up.
if it's any good.
Like
Yeah.
it's a bad thing. I guess insomnia is a terrible thing. I sleep all the time. I can't, But it's like people watch 2 or 3 movies. And they can watch movies. It's like wow. And I'll tell you something else.
Yes,
When I said
Henry.
I, go ahead.
No, I say telling Henry that Caligula is filled with nudity, and actually it was turned into a porn film after the fact. After all the main actors did their roles, then then it was turned into a the next film, X-rated film.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But
there
go ahead.
was an R-rated version of Caligula
Yeah,
made even at the
yeah.
time. I don't know how well it was, how much it got shown, but there was one.
Mm,
Um,
you're right.
yeah. I don't know what else to say. I'm just gonna tell a stupid story. Everything I say is stupid at this hour. No, when I watched
And
this with Anthony at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I've seen it plenty of times, but of course I nodded off for like 10 minutes. Then
70 minutes, or how long is it? Like 70, 70,
at
80
least
minutes,
90.
or yeah.
But I nodded off for 10 minutes, and I woke up and I said, Anthony, was I just sleeping? He goes, Yeah. I'm like, geez, 2 o'clock. Today I was ready for bed at 12 noon. I got up at 6:30 in the morning, and at 12 noon I
Mm,
was like, I need a nap. Can I tell you, folks? It is what it is.
yeah,
You know.
yeah,
But I stayed
yeah.
awake all
Beetle
night. So
Eddie, I yeah.
go ahead.
Beetle Eddie, I recommend Civil War. Go check it out.
Listen, I want you to once say you saw a movie and didn't like it.
Yeah, absolutely. When that happens, I will let you know.
But I
Absolutely.
don't. I've never heard you not like a movie.
I told you I don't like City Hall multiple times.
Oh, City Hall. Okay, I'll give you one. That's your all-purpose dislike movie.
That's
Here's a movie. There's another great movie I didn't think anything of. Okay,
oh,
it's ridiculous. Some of these movies with these
first
reputations. I'm like, what? I
first
finally got
film
to it.
to yeah, first film to win Best Picture with the next rating.
yeah, but there were a lot of rated X didn't until porn came in. Rated X didn't mean anything. The original the Godzilla with Raymond Burr was rated X. Believe it or not, there were a lot of like horror films and monster films that were rated X. That just meant your parents should probably go with you if you're going to take your kids to the theater.
I
That's
have
all it
like
meant back then.
Mm,
They didn't
I
come up with the general
okay.
guidelines till like the mid or late '60s or something.
mm.
I have like new movies. Henry, quite
Yeah, yeah. You're not,
yeah,
he loved the new Godzilla or
the
the
new
last
Godzilla,
Godzilla
the new
film.
Saw movie,
Yeah, the new Saw
the
movie he
new
loved.
Thanksgiving horror movie I
Yeah, the
liked.
Thanksgiving movie he loved.
All
I
right.
can't wait till he sees the new Planet of the Apes film.
When I went to see
I can't.
Doubt way back in 2009, I loved it. There's movies I love. I saw what's the one? A Man Called Otto. I liked it.
Yeah.
Give me a
I'm the
break.
one that doesn't like very many
Yeah,
new
he's the one that
movies.
doesn't like new.
Yeah, that
He's the
guy.
one.
But I live in a place with like one movie theater that has like 5 screens or something. So all we get are basically comic book
You get the
films.
second
That's all we
run.
get.
You kind of
So I
like,
don't.
yeah. Mm,
But
Yeah,
the
we don't have
important thing,
anything like
Henry,
that.
the
So
main
all I
thing,
get
Henry,
is.
is that there are older films that I have yet to see, older movies I want to see way before new ones. There's still like a lot of great old movies I haven't seen yet. Same thing with certain music.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
there's tons. That's what I like about Turner Classic Movies. There's tons of films that I would never watch if it didn't just come on Turner Classic Movies and I don't have anything else to do and I watch it and I'm like, oh, this is really
that's
good. I
exactly what
saw
I'm saying.
maybe a month ago or something a movie called Battleground. Battleground was the best war movie I've ever seen, and I'd never heard of it before.
mm.
It's most real. People have called it the most realistic war movie ever made. At least at its time, it was. It's very. It was just great. I'm like, wow.
And also, I was going around the dials the other night, and I saw, a '90s movie. I saw a scene with Jack Lemmon looking all bloated, meaning old Jack Lemmon, and it turned
Yeah.
out I looked at what was this, and that was that Glengarry
Oh,
Ross
Glengarry Glen Ross. Yeah.
thing.
Awesome
But I mean,
film.
I only watched 5 minutes of it. I didn't watch it, but I
Awesome.
mean, I didn't want to start in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait until I mean, I have a great memory of that movie. Yeah, I was the right age. I saw that when I was like 8 years old or something. It was so many things is better when you're a kid. I mean, really, it was so scary to me. And then of course now you watch it and you see all its flaws and things. But at the time I thought, wow, this is scary.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I'm at my mother's. I'm talking to DJ Moreno here, but I'm at my mother's house, so I can't DVR anything. I can't take up her space on a DVR. She DVRs everything. So, but that's the problem with TCM. Most of the movies I want to see are on the middle of the night, and I can't stay up all night here like I can at my house.
Uh, I don't know. I don't know if there's a lot of well, I don't know if Joe wants me to say on the, I don't want to screw up the
It's
algorithms
too
or
late.
whatever
It
it's
was
called.
already done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just thought you can't go without mentioning 12 Angry Men in a movie discussion. That's what I'm saying.
He's not
Yeah,
going
I
to
know.
watch it, Henry. So I mean, just give it up. Just give it
But the
up.
thing is, when I watch this movie now, the criminals aren't that scary. I thought they were like scary back in it when I was, a kid. You know, but it's good. It's a good movie. Oh,
Yeah, Beetle Eddie. I mean, Scorsese's been talking about doing a Sinatra biopic with Leo for decades
yeah.
now.
We talked about that before you were here. Do you think he would be good in there? It's not the right look,
No,
He
yeah.
he have he should lose some weight if he's gonna do it. Not that he's heavy, but
and you
Sinatra
got to
was a
be
twig,
balding too.
Yeah.
Whatever
and
balding, yeah, I
you
feel
gotta be
whatever.
Well, I mean, unless you're gonna do the older, heavier set Sinatra,
yeah,
because I mean,
yeah. If it's later,
He
but
did fill out.
yeah, no, he filled out by the late 50s, early 60s. He started
Yeah.
filling out a little bit, but for most of his career, he was a twig.
I got news
Yeah.
for you, John Mellenhead. They are again now in movies.
Yeah.
It's
What's
like
wrong
they're
with
not
that?
allowed to do it otherwise. Uh, I don't know what else to say here. I mean, there's things, but
Only are the brave.
so many movies,
Straight
so little
Jacket.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Straight Jacket. Joan Crawford. Booze
Booze
Bucks.
Bucks. No, she wasn't collecting booze
Yeah.
bucks by that time, but she was getting close. I have to do movies like that. You're starting to get the booze bucks time.
Oh, what was that movie? I saw a movie with Betty Davis that was quite interesting. Mr. Skeffington. Anybody ever
Hmm.
seen Mr.
Oh, is that a
Skeffington?
booze? Is
I
that what year is that?
No, that's 40s. I think it was 40s. Was that
Yeah,
late
mid
30s, early
40s.
40s?
I think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
early 40s maybe. It's
Yeah.
got her and Claude Rains, and
Yeah.
she's like this. It's set in the very early 1900s, right around when World War One is starting. Um, and she just thinks the world of herself. She's this gorgeous. She thinks she's gorgeous, and men do too for whatever reason. People are like, why did they cast her? But anyway, so she looks in the mirror constantly and blah blah blah. Anyway, and ends up getting diphtheria, which ages you drastically, and she looks like hell by the end of the
She
movie,
looks
and
like
she
Betty Davis
she
did later.
still thinks she looks great, and it's kind of sad. It was a good movie. I thought it was done well, and I enjoyed it. And yeah, that's another movie I saw, Mr. Skeffington. If you see it,
I like Betty Davis, and I've seen so many early movies, and there was one,
hmm
classic. There's a few classics that I missed that I haven't seen in their entirety, like Now Voyager and certain other ones. What's the other? What's the one when
yeah,
she's got a? I think Claude Rains is in it too. What's the one?
he's in a lot of hers.
she's like mentally, she has a mental problem or something, and he's the doctor,
Mm,
I think. Well, Xandar
Yeah,
Vorkov equals best Dracula. That's the worst Dracula ever.
yeah. What is that called? I know what movie you're talking about, but I
Yeah,
can't think of the name of it.
yeah.
Um, but in Mr. Skeffington, she doesn't play the typical Betty Davis character. She's bright and cheery all the time. You know, and that's you don't picture Betty Davis like that.
Yeah, I've seen this movie. I used to own it. And I don't remember having a major role in this. I think she, like a secretary or something. I remember who's the guy, the main comedian. There's a guy in there that's funny in this movie. The main guy, not with Jimmy Durante, another guy. The
mm,
main guy, yeah. The,
yeah.
the man who comes to dinner and he's really sarcastic. Don't
I
know.
I
Well,
haven't seen it.
Yeah, the ones that I've seen here are I've seen Jezebel, Now Voyager, Dark Victory, The Letter. There's Mrs. Skiffleton, like you said. There's The Little Foxes. That's really good. The Star is really good. Who else? You don't know who the other actor was in that film that you were talking about,
well, Claude
Joe?
Rains is in the one I'm
Okay.
thinking of, but I don't know what the one is. Well, I think
It
there's
might
something.
be Dark Victory, the one with Claude Rains, where it's a
Yeah.
doctor. Might be
Yeah.
Dark
Where's
Victory.
Robert Woolley played the main guy in A Man Who Came to Dinner? That's what I'm thinking of.
Mm,
Yeah, I thought Betty
Um,
Davis was. I don't know if I'd say hot, but she was attractive, and I thought in like Jezebel,
no, no,
like
she can be attract.
early
To me,
one.
she's to me.
yeah.
Oh God, what's her name? I can't think of anybody's names anymore. Is the modern equivalent of Betty Davis. I'll come up with her name in a minute because Drew Barrymore.
Um.
Because
Oh,
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore is very attractive sometimes, and sometimes she's just not. And Betty Davis
Yeah.
was the
I mean,
same.
yeah,
the her 30s. I thought in the 30s, like Petrified Forest. I thought she was
yeah,
really
yeah,
Yeah,
thirties.
cute.
no, no, she's
The
great in
older
Petrus.
she
That's
got,
probably my
the older
favorite.
she got, she didn't. Yeah, she didn't
Yeah,
age
she got
gracefully
really,
though.
really skanky looking when she
Yeah,
got
she
older.
didn't
Let's be honest
age
about
that
it.
well,
She didn't
but
age
but
well, and she had
but
a
her
hard.
acting improved. Like
Oh yeah,
what's that movie from the early 50s that
All About Eve.
All
all
About
about
Eve?
Eve.
Yeah, I mean she's
Yeah,
amazing in All About Eve. You know,
right. Yeah,
Yeah. So I liked her in the early, and I don't know the names of all of them, but I know there's some scenes they used to show that I seen her drinking something or something. She's real young.
yeah.
A close up of
And she
her, and
smoked, and she was a smoker too.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
mhm.
like in the '80s or something. 19. When did she die? Like in the '80s, right? She was like on TV
Yeah,
and she still was smoking and stuff. Oh
Yeah.
man, it's scary.
yeah. She was on the Tonight Show, I guess, with what's the comedian's name? And he was doing an impression of her, and she was not having
Oh
it.
yeah, she's not happy with
Um,
it.
yeah,
So, yeah, I was always more in the camp Betty Davis.
yeah. Same here.
I'm
Same
not a
here.
Joan Crawford fan. Early Joan Crawford I is okay, but once you get even close to the 40s, I don't really like her anymore. I
Yeah,
don't
I've
get
seen
it.
her in so many old movies, really old
But
movies. Where it doesn't even look like her.
Yeah.
early day, yeah, she's in a couple of silents, and you know she's really good in those. And then yeah, I'm just not a big fan.
Yeah. 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 Thank you, Rocco. Martin Short was the actor comedian that was doing a Betty Davis impersonation while she was sitting right next
Oh,
to him.
Oh,
not nice. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
you guys, I know you got a favorite Elvis flick. Nah, I go for King Creole. I still say whenever, regardless of what anybody thinks, you got to at least see King Creole. If not, if you only saw one Elvis film, because it's a series. It's serious. It's got
Yeah.
some music in it, but it's a good movie. I think. Regardless,
I've
Walter
only
Matthau's in
seen
it.
I've I've only seen Jailhouse Rock, so
Yeah, it's not bad, but try King Creole when you think of it, because Walter Matthau's in there. He's
mm,
plays a
yeah.
bad
yeah,
guy.
that's probably his best. And I can never remember the name of the film. There's one that's a kind of a serious film. Towards later in his career, it's one of his race car films, but it's kind of serious. And he's like dating this older woman, and she has this beach house. That's all I can really remember about it.
You're not talking about Live a Little, Love a Little, are you? That's one of my
Maybe
favorite
that
movies,
might be
actually.
it. That might be it. But
She's got a
that's
beach house, but you know, I don't think he's really. I don't know if he races in that though. And it's
I
got the
think he
song "Edge of
races.
Reality" in there, which is
Yeah,
a good
I think
song.
he races. But yeah, anyway, that's one of his better films.
I've never seen "Mommy Dearest." I hate to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
No,
I
assume
I've
haven't
never
either.
had any interest.
No, I'm
I've
not a Joan
never.
Crawford fan, so I haven't seen.
Just the
And,
classic,
and
nowhere hang.
but it's ironic if you believe the rumors and the hype and everything. Faye Dunaway starred as Joan Crawford, and she basically turned into Joan Crawford. She was exactly the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, she looked good in the part. As the Showa era, the classic era, the '60s and '70s, Showa, is that what Godzilla is? I think so. Um, I could tell you, my favorite one is always, for childhood reasons, is going to be King Kong versus Godzilla. Not to be confused with the new ones they make. I love that. I love Godzilla versus Mothra. Those are my two favorite ones of the '60s: King Kong versus Godzilla, Godzilla versus Mothra.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know the
those are
the
probably
eras, but my favorite Godzilla film is the first one, but that's probably not that era.
Did you ever
Um,
see the new one?
no,
It's worth it, but it's not in the theater
and
anymore.
and I like Mecha Godzilla just because when I was a kid, I thought it was cool that there's this robot Godzilla, and I thought
Yeah,
they did a fairly good job for the time.
yeah.
So
So what is this? People are saying that he's not making that movie critic. He's going to go back to the drawing
uh,
board.
I've thought for forever, and I still think that he should make Kill Bill 3.
Oh
Now
well,
Yeah.
of
I'm not a
course.
sequel guy, but he left it
Yeah.
open. He
Uh,
left it open, and he should finish it. You
yeah.
know,
He didn't really leave it open. Actually, that's a real good.
well,
Right?
no. When he kills I forget her
Bill.
name.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Daryl
know what you're
Hannah.
saying, but that's early in the part one. But
Yeah,
that,
yeah, but
Oh,
that would be
the
the
part
third
in the
one.
daughter. The daughter.
the
Yeah, the
Yeah,
daughter,
daughter
yeah,
was a
but
yeah.
the
witness.
daughter,
Yeah,
he says, when you're
daughter
old
was.
enough and if you're still
Yeah.
angry,
Well,
come
Yeah.
looking for me. That's a
Yeah.
film right there. That's a
yeah,
very
yeah.
simple, good film.
I think he said that's what he would do if he was going to do it.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean,
that's a loophole. But I'm saying the end of
yeah,
part two is actually a
but
pretty. It comes full circle. It's a happy ending. It's
he
over.
he needs he needs to do it before she gets too old.
Yeah, that's what I would. I mean,
Oh,
I don't know how
It's
old she
creeping
is,
up.
but
she's in this movie from I think it came out in 19 or 18, 19, and she is kind of
Uh-huh.
looking getting up there. You know.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. They
Yeah.
need to. I
Yeah.
mean, she could be older and still, but she shouldn't be 80 or something. She does.
no,
That
I
wouldn't be good.
Stay Away Joe is one of the worst ones. But Elvis, but Live a Little, Love a Little, I really like. That's like one of his last ones. And he's a photographer. I forgot. It says here he's a photographer. Live a
Well, he
little, love a
might,
little.
but I remember him driving a race car for some reason
At the
at
beginning,
some point in the
he's at the
film.
beginning he's on the beach driving a dune buggy. I don't know if that's
Okay,
what you're
maybe that's
thinking
what
of.
I remember. I don't. I mean, I've only seen it once, but I thought for an Elvis film, this is fairly good.
Yeah, so some of them are not bad, And you got, I mean, for what they are, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, J.D. Thompson, still packing on the
Hello.
pounds.
Hey,
Me, I mean, that has to go with me, not you. That's it, man.
hey. I was gonna say, be careful, buddy.
Me,
Uh,
I don't care, man. I'm
uh,
going. What's the point anymore?
I don't know if I completely agree with that, Chris Hill, but they didn't ruin the remake of Ben Hur. Uh,
What?
you
Oh,
know,
you mean
50 and
which one are you
59
talking about?
and
The 50? I
the
don't count that
yeah,
as a
yeah.
remake. I
I
know
know
when you
you don't. I said that to tease you.
Bing. But
Bang.
there are some new movies that I thought new remakes that aren't too bad, and I didn't see some of them. But didn't they say like geez, what's the oh brother man? You know these things like Tim was saying, and you can't think of them.
Yeah.
The one with John Wayne that they redid.
Oh yeah, True Grit.
Yeah, True Grit. Supposed
I
to be
thought
very.
True
I
Grit
heard it's
was
supposed to be
yeah,
very good.
yeah.
The new
Oh
Yeah, I
one.
yeah,
didn't see
I
it.
think it is very good.
You
Yeah, I think
know,
it is very good.
so you can be done. And when they did, it's not a new movie anymore. But when they did Cape Fear, it was a good one.
See,
The
I
remake.
don't
Yeah.
hate the idea of
Um.
remakes. They've been doing remakes since the beginning of movies. I mean,
Mm.
Yeah.
so I don't mind that, but they I don't like them when I don't like them taking toys and TV shows and all. I don't like that as movies. That's not movie material in my opinion. But they've been. I mean, there was a
Yeah.
Frankenstein in 1904, and they already like remade it in 1912 or something. They've been
But
doing
I'm saying I
remakes
don't count
forever.
those when people don't see
You
them. They're
know,
just little 5 minutes, like the Edison
But
Frankenstein. It's
but
like 10 minutes or
but
something.
I mean,
It's
they've
not a
been
movie.
remaking films since the beginning of film. There's like five versions of A Star Is Born. They've been
Yeah.
remaking films since it was film.
But you gotta
But
say, as a film fan, you gotta. I would think I'll put words in your mouth for you. You got. I'm guessing you would agree that um, there's certain movies you can't always say what that you say. Oh no, that you should never remake. That's like Citizen Kane. You
well,
don't
no,
remake Citizen
I
Kane.
agree, and I think there are movies that should have been good and aren't, and those are the ones that should be remade. There's a lot of those actually that
But there's
you
some that
read
I
the
actually.
script and you're like, oh man, this is great, and then you watch the film and you're like, that was terrible. That's the films they ought to
Well,
remake.
they've remade some of the ones that like Willard from '71 is
Hmm.
not a great movie, but I love it, and a lot
No.
of people love it because it's that you grew up
Yeah,
with it,
but
cult,
it did.
and they remade it.
But the reason they don't make the movies like I was talking about is they didn't do good box office then. So like, oh, it won't do good box office now, but it would if it was done right. But they won't take the chance.
Well,
So
this is another one that's been made tons of times,
Yeah.
or a
yeah.
few times,
Well, there's
and I
there's
still think the
tons
Burt
of
33 one
movies.
is
Lancaster.
the best.
I love the Burt Lancaster. Michael Rourke. Oh yeah, Michael York. Yeah, I like that version.
Have you ever seen the 33 one?
No, not
This is
yet.
on Criterion
Well, if that's the case, then yes, I have because I own it. Then yeah,
with Charles Lawton.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's to me that's the ultimate one of that. Then he tried doing that again later with Marlon Brando.
Brando, that was just the abomination.
Holy cow! And the other one
Yeah,
I was thinking of was that wasn't even the one I was thinking of. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's the one I was thinking of. They made that at least 4 times. I
yeah,
like the Donald Sutherland one from the '70s the best out of that those
I like
overall.
the first one, but
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I like the
would.
first one too. But there you
yeah.
go. There's an
Then there's
example.
yeah. Dirty Filthy Rotten Scoundrels was a remake of a Marlon Brando film called Bedtime Stories, which I think is in a way better than the Brando version.
In Viva Las Vegas, he was a race car driver, and he was a race car driver in Speedway, and he was a race car driver in Spin Out. There's at least three that I know of, I could think of. We got to win this race.
We're gonna win this race. Lemonade, that cool,
Yeah.
refreshing drink.
Mm, water, it's the best.
Yeah.
I was almost going to watch Taxi Driver today. There you go again. Are they going to remake Taxi
Ah,
Driver? Yeah, come on.
yeah. Well, no, they, there was talk about them doing a sequel there for about 5 minutes.
Hey, could they make a sequel? What happened to him in the? Who's got shot in the hand? What was it at
Well,
the
the
end?
guy that got shot in the hand was the pimp or something like
Okay.
that took
So
the
what happened?
money.
I don't want. I'm going to see it
Yeah,
one of these days. I'm going to watch
yeah,
my Blu-ray copy.
yeah.
But um, if the De Niro, if what's his name still alive, they're going to make it over again
Travis
with.
Bickle, yeah, yeah. But they never really show him die. So and no, and no, and then there was the epilogue there where Jodie Foster's parents writes to De Niro thanking him for what he did, and then he's in the cab with Sybil Shepherd, after she's read all the headlines saying that he was a hero or whatever. So he survives. Oh yeah, it's a shot-for-shot remake. And it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, cool. Someone has seen. Fox has seen Bedtime Stories. That's cool.
Well,
It is. I mean, there's a couple scenes where they were pretty much exactly the same. I just think that Steve Martin and Michael Caine did a better job than Brando and David Nevin did. And Brando's one of my top 5 favorite actors.
Oh boy.
All right. Well,
Getting to the time where I gotta end it anyway. It's almost
yeah,
90 minutes, so let's end it here. Ah, I'm glad you two guys were able to make it.
yeah, yeah.
well, yep.
Mm, looking forward to seeing
Thanks
more of
for
Tim's
having
laser
us.
disc one of these days when he can lift them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Let's.
no, I'm looking at my background. I feel like I'm on like TCM or something. I'm one of the. This looks like
Or
a
you got the
TCM
yeah.
stuff.
Or you got the green screen background.
Yeah,
You got a different
yeah.
image.
I don't. This is a real
Than what it
background.
really
This is.
is.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. And thanks to the guys on screen as well, like I said. And we'll do it again soon, hopefully next week. All right. So
All right.
Okay.
I think of a good sign off line. So keep watching those movies. Just like I do. Keep watching. I'm gonna have 10 movies for you next week. Watched. Because and new movies I've never seen before. No, not really. All right. See ya.